Okay, so this is module summary 5, and then it's over the chapters 11 and 12. Chapter 11 is on emotional development, and what is attachment? Attachment is an enduring emotional tie uniting one person to another. Secure attachment is attachment classification in which children use attachment figures as a source of comfort in times of distress and a secure base from which to explore. Insecure avoidant attachment is attachment classification in which children appear somewhat indifferent to attachment figures. And insecure resistant attachment is attachment classification in which children are preoccupied with their attachment figures, but gain little comfort from them when they're distressed. And I think it's really important when I was studying this chapter to apply to my teaching some good resources for when I'm in the classroom to how to promote attachment because it's so important in the child's development, mentally, physically, um, just their social well being. And so, some ways to promote it are to care for young children in a sensitive manner, to give children time to adjust to you, to promote emotional bonds in children of all ages, to acknowledge and encourage multiple attachments, to encourage sympathetic dispositions in children, to offer a range of services when children are placed with new families, and to seek professional guidance when attachment problems are serious. And obviously, these are some of the last ones are like when it's serious and they don't have really any attachment to anyone. But the beginning ones, just to make sure that each child has secure attachment so they're able to learn and develop quickly and be ready to move on and learn new things. What is emotion? Emotion is a affective response to an event that is personally relevant to one's needs and goals. Children's gender, culture, and socioeconomic status affect their emotional pathways. So, those three different things are ways that their emotional development can be affected. Gender, obviously, boy or girl, cultural, socioeconomic status, the way they grow up in poverty or rich economic status plays a huge role in their emotional well being. And another way of things that I looked up from classrooms for when I'm teaching is ways to promote their emotional development because that's also very important. Help crying infants find comfort, create an atmosphere of warmth, acceptance, and trust, offer age appropriate outlets for emotional expression, take cultural differences into account, pay attention to your own emotions, and model appropriate ways of dealing with negative emotions. These are common emotional and behavioral disorders. Depression is one emotional condition characterized by significant sadness, discouragement, hopelessness, and um, irritability are found in children. Anxiety disorder or a chronic emotional condition characterized by excessive debilitating worry. Conduct disorder is a chronic emotional condition characterized by lack of concern for the rights of others. And in emotional development, there's temperament, which is refers to a child's typical ways of responding to events and novel stimulation and regulating impulses. And personality is when a child is growing. It's the way they develop in distinct ways of behaving, thinking, and how they feel. And both these help us in understanding the individual child response to their emotions from their relationships, how they act with schools and in group settings, which is really important. And so the next chapter we went over was development of self and social understandings. And it's really important that a child has a sense of self because they should be confident in themselves. So the sense of self is knowledge, beliefs, judgments, and feelings about oneself as a person. Self handicapping is action that undermines one's own success as a way of protecting self worth during difficult tasks. Some things that self handicapping do is it reduces effort, sets unattainable high goals. People take on too much. There's procrastinating, cheating, using alcohol and drugs. So, this is harmful to their development. Um, I think this is very important, the transformations in self during developmental periods, because it shows the difference of what kind of development they have within themselves, like on the most common stance. And during infancy, the child's sense of self emerges in this stage. During early childhood is when language acquisitions and other cognitive developments permit other advancements in their self. Middle childhood, the child is tending to see themselves in more complex physical and psychological terms. Early adolescence is a drop in self-esteem, often occurs at this time that they move from elementary to middle school, which is extremely important for teachers to be aware that children deal with low self-esteem issues in middle school transferring to high school, and to use age-appropriate ways in helping the child's development in good sense of self, because that's very important in their later years of life, and it shouldn't be contributed or inhibited through their drop in self-esteem in this age. And then late adolescence is increasing ability to reflect on their own behaviors they became aware of that can't take on different personality when interacting with parents, teachers, friends, and romantic partners. Some important things from this chapter that were highlighted are gender schema, which is self-constructed body of beliefs about the traits and behaviors of males or females. Self-socialization is a tendency to integrate personal observations and others' input into self-constructed standards from behavior and to choose actions consistent with those standards. Self-cognition is a process of thinking about how other people are likely to act, think, and react, choosing one's own interpersonal behaviors accordingly. Theory of mind is awareness that people have an inner psychological life, thoughts, beliefs, feelings, etc. Social perspective is imagining what someone else might be thinking or feeling. Intentionality is engagement in an action congruent with one's purpose or goal. Recursive thinking is thinking about what other people may be thinking about oneself, possibly through multiple interactions. Social cognitive bias is mental shortcut used when thinking about other people or social events. Stereotype is a rigid, simplistic, and erroneous characterization of a particular group. Prejudice is a display of negative attitudes, feelings, and behaviors towards particular individuals because of their membership in a specific group. And then autism spectrum disorder is a disorder marked by impaired social cognition, social skills, and social interaction, as well as repetitive behaviors. Extreme forms are often associated with significant cognitive and linguistic delays and highly unusual behaviors. And a mirror neuron is a specialized cell in the brain that either fires when the person performs a particular act of observing another individual performing the same act. And in these chapters, it's really important that the teachers have, or any parent, things like that, they're aware of ways to help contribute to these growing and the children becoming strong in their sense of self and their emotional development, being very confident in themselves. And the ways that I listed are ways that they can address them and really help them. So I think that's really important when we covered these chapters. And that's my module summary. Thank you so much.